We all dream of that perfect forever home, right? A place with history, with character. For the Miller family, Willow House was that dream. An old Victorian mansion, a bit run down but full of potential. They couldn't wait to fill its empty rooms with laughter and new memories. But they soon discovered the house had memories of its own. It started subtly. A faint murmur from the parlor, a hushed argument from the upstairs hallway. They'd searched, but no one was there. At first, they blamed it on the old pipes, the wind whistling through the eaves. But the sounds grew clearer, more distinct. They weren't just random noises. They were conversations, perfectly preserved within the plaster walls. It was like living in a time capsule of sound. They heard the sweet nothings of a young couple from the 1920s whispered in the master bedroom. They heard the frantic scribbling of a poet from the 50s in the study, his frustrated sighs echoing around them. It was fascinating, a living history, but the tone began to shift. The whispers turned to arguments, a bitter fight over money from the Great Depression era. A tearful confession of infidelity from the 70s. The walls held every secret, every joy, and every sorrow the house had ever known. The Millers started feeling like intruders in their own home, privy to the intimate and sometimes dark moments of strangers. Their own conversations started feeling self-conscious, as if the walls were listening, waiting to add their voices to the collection. Sleep became difficult. The house was never truly quiet. It was a constant chorus of the past. Then they heard the most recent recordings, the family before them. It started with excited chatter, much like their own, about renovations and a new life. But anxiety crept into the voices. They talked about the whispers, the same way the Millers did. They sounded confused, then scared. The man's voice grew desperate, talking about a warning, a pattern he'd discovered in the oldest recordings of the house. One night, the entire family was jolted awake by a scream. It wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a raw, terrified shriek echoing from the basement. It was the voice of the previous owner, a woman. It's not the walls. It's in the foundation. It's trying to get out. Don't listen. Her voice was cut short by a sound that chilled them to the bone, a deep, guttural growl that seemed to shake the very structure of the house. Then silence, a heavy, dreadful silence that was more terrifying than any of the whispers. The Millers finally understood. The whispers weren't just memories. They were a warning system. Each family that lived in Willow House left their story, their fears, and ultimately their final moments recorded for the next to hear. The house wasn't just preserving sound. It was a trap, and the audio playback was the bait. They had to decipher the final warning, the one buried beneath a century of noise. What was in the foundation? And what did it want? They were no longer just living in a haunted house. They were part of its story, and they had to figure out the ending before the walls started recording theirs. What do you think they should do? Run? Or stay and solve the mystery? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love stories that will keep you up at night, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching.